Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this session with Sable International Study Abroad, where we'll be talking to Hillsborough Community College, talking about transfer programs with the college. In session with us is Ashley and Coca. We're waiting for one more person that hopefully will be able to get online. His name is Stuart. And should he be able to get online, we'll have the full panel that will be talking about all things community college, Hillsborough Community College, as well as transfer programs with the community college. And so just going around the panel, Ashley, may you start us off?
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Ashley Tankersley and I manage international student recruitment for Hillsborough Community College, which we will probably just refer to as HCC throughout the presentation. And I've been with HCC about 10 years now. My favorite thing about my job is talking to prospective students all around the world about the possibility of coming to the United States, coming to our college to study. I love meeting people from a variety of different backgrounds. COVID's been a little difficult, but here we are in a virtual world, which is the next best thing, but I can't wait to hit the ground running and travel again and meet you guys face to face. But in the meantime, this will do. And then I have one of my international student alums on this webinar with me today, and I'm thrilled to introduce him because I will say my favorite thing is seeing my international students not only come to campus after, meeting them abroad perhaps, but seeing them make friends, do great in the classroom, and then transfer on to a four-year institution. And this alum today, he's from Nigeria. We call him Coker. If you want to introduce yourself, Coker, that'd be great.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Imana Koka, and I'm actually from Warri, Nigeria, but I've been living in Tampa for the past almost 8 years now. And the good thing about HCC is that you definitely have close proximity with the instructors, and that's going to help you in the classrooms as well. So I'm looking forward to speaking to you guys about HCC and 2 years college in general.
That's awesome. So thank you guys for joining us this evening. Just a brief background on the college. HCC is located in Tampa, Florida, which is in the US, and it's actually on or in a vibrant waterfront city, which is Tampa. Many of you may know of Tampa. Tampa is close to Miami. I'm sure, well, not close, but they're in the same state, in which I'm sure people are more aware of Miami, but there is another place called Tampa or Tampa Bay. It's known for its year-round sunshines, which is great for African students, is because African students love a lot of sun and can't really deal with the cold. So the great thing about Florida State is that there's a lot of sunshine, right? And they have amazing beaches as well, and a vibrant cultural scene, sports of all kinds, and excellent higher education opportunities. So you always feel like there's a lot happening around you, and there's a lot you can do in the lecture theaters and outside of the lecture theaters. You may enjoy a unique learning environment with many features not usually found at US community colleges. So there's a uniqueness to HCC that you will most likely enjoy. And they have a wide range of associate degree programs, which Ashley will speak about in a bit. So that's just a brief background on HCC. And just to start off the conversation, Ashley, can you just break it down to us? What is a community college?
That's a great question. So basically in the United States, it takes about 4 years to get your bachelor's degree, and a community college is those first 2 years. So students come with us, come to our school, study for 2 years, and then we help them with the transfer process to finish year 3 and 4 of their bachelor's degree. In my presentation, I will talk a little bit about why students choose to do that first. It's for many different reasons. Mainly it's a lot cheaper, lower admission requirements, but I'll talk about all that a little later. But that's basically a community college. We call it 2+2 transfer programs, which is why you guys are here today to learn more about that. But we'll help you with that process and get you where you want to go.
Okay, that's awesome. Coca, what makes HCC the place for students to study?
I would say HCC is the place to be for students because there's a lot of reason. One reason I feel HCC is the best place to be, most especially for students from Africa. There's this close family called Center of International Education, which will help you acclimatize. I'm not guarantee you that there won't be culture shock. There will be culture shock, but the Center of International Education will help you get through the culture shock, and the smaller classroom and the fact that you can have proximity with your instructors, your lecturers right next to you. And the fact that you save a lot of money coming into HCC will help you save a lot of money for 2 years before you transfer into a 4 years college, which is usually expensive than a 2 years college. So I feel coming into HCC is way smarter than going straight into a 4 years university institution.
Okay, that's actually awesome. And you did touch on something that is major, in which the culture shock can be massive for a lot of students. And you did say that the students can get support when they come on campus.
Yes, sir. For me, the best thing that will happen to a student is it's a class in HCC called SLS orientation. It's one of the key classes in HCC that they bring you up to speed about the new environment. Most especially those of us coming from Africa, there's huge culture shock coming into America. But the Center of International Education and the school itself help you acclimatize, help you like get into the system smoothly without you being homesick or having the effect of culture shock in your life.
That's actually awesome. We found that a lot of our students have a lot of questions, and depending on the age, we're looking at 15, 16, 17-year-olds. They're not sure what to do or where they want to be. So it's always the question of, do they really have to go to university after HCC? And they need help with those type of questions. Are you able to support students that are not really sure what to do after graduating at HCC?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's what's so great about the education system in the United States, because you don't necessarily have to know what you want to be when you grow up straight out of high school. You know, you can take a class here and there and see what interests you. You don't necessarily even have to claim your major until later on in the second year of your college studies. We do get some students who just want to come to us for 2 years, and actually they will be walking away with a degree. It's called an associate's degree. But, you know, one of the great things, and I talk about this too in my presentation, but one of the great things about studying at our institution is, you know, they're assigned their own academic advisor, and she helps them map out their education plan during their time at HCC. She begins a dialogue with them with where they might want to transfer, if they might want to transfer. So you'll have the guidance, you know, as Coker touched on too, you'll have the guidance during your time at HCC to sort of talk it out with your academic advisor and discuss different options. What are your options and what you might want to do?
That's actually awesome. So now I'm just going to hand it over to you, Ashley, and you're going to tell us more about more of HCC Community College life on campus, as well as the 2+2 transfer program.
Great. Let me share my screen here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it's here.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off for the presentation portion.
Sure.
Great. You can see that okay?
Yeah, everything's good. You're good to go.
Okay. So I think we sort of already went through the introductions for sure. Again, I'm Ashley Tankersley. Looking forward to today's conversation. Hopefully my colleague Stuart will be able to join us. He is trying to join us from the University of South Florida. But, you know, if all else fails, I'm so excited we do have Coker, an international student alum. He's currently at St. Leo University, which I think it's great. It sort of illustrates the fact that our international students go to a variety of places, not necessarily just the University of South Florida, but we'll talk more about this in just a moment. So here is a nice, beautiful aerial shot of the Tampa Bay area. It is a nice waterfront city, which, you know, we discussed in the beginning there. A little bit about the city of Tampa itself. We are located on Florida's Gulf Coast, so we are on the west side of the state. In the Tampa Bay region, we have over 4 million inhabitants, and of course, that's growing more and more every day. We're finding a lot of people relocating to the Tampa Bay area. In the city of Tampa itself, we have probably right now it's closer to 400,000 residents. Tampa is most recently has been ranked the second best large U.S. city for undergraduate students, which I think is fantastic because yes, we all know a strong curriculum and a supportive school environment is important to a student's success academically, but you know, location is as well. Students need to be happy where they're located. A little bit about HCC. We were founded in 1968. We are a rather large community college. We have 5 different campuses in the Tampa Bay area. And each campus, I will say, has its own unique feel. We have our Dale Mabry campus, and that's where our student housing is located. That's where my office is, the international office is. And then we also have the Ybor City campus, and that's more dedicated towards the arts. So you'll find the digital TV and media production program, art, dance, music, theater. A lot of those types of programs are located on that campus. And then we also have 3 other campuses, so on and so forth. And I can discuss that more with you guys individually after the presentation too. We have a total enrollment of over 47,000 students. But since we are a community college, some of those students will go part-time. But we have the full-time equivalency of about 22,000 students. Of course, as an international student, you're required to go to school full-time. And those international F1 students we have at HCC normally range anywhere between 300 and 400. 400 was pre-pandemic. Right now, we're more on the lower side, between 3 and 350 F1 international students, and they do come from over 80 different countries. So we have a really well-rounded international student body. One thing that sort of sets us apart from the crowd, we do offer on-campus housing, and it's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. I'll show you pictures of that later on in the presentation. But a lot of community colleges generally do not offer on-campus housing. So that's one thing that makes us pretty special. And then the last bullet point there is pretty darn important too. We are in a relatively safe neighborhood because Tampa is one of the top 10 safest metro areas in the US. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Here's what we were sort of hitting on in the beginning there. Why choose a community college versus go straight into that university? And we'll talk about all this today. But basically, you'll have lower tuition costs. So you're getting, you know, the same exact education those first 2 years as you would at a 4-year institution. It's the same exact coursework, but with a way lower price ticket there. So you're saving a lot of money. Very simple admissions process. I'll also talk about that later, but basically you do not have to take an SAT exam or an ACT exam. You don't have to have minimum grades. We don't require that. Very simply, community colleges only require that you have graduated from high school, and that's it. Also, perhaps take an English language proficiency exam like you do at HCC, and I'll talk about that later too. A lot of students will choose to attend a community college also because of OPT, optional practical training. It's basically a one-year work authorization in the US that you can do on the F1 student visa. And you can do it more than once if you attend a community college first. And I'll talk about that later too. And then lastly, basically why we're here today to talk about 2+2 transfer programs. So this is the cost for one full academic year, not just attending our college, but this also includes the estimated cost of living in the state of Florida and the Tampa Bay area specifically. So basically to prove to the U.S. Embassy that you can afford to live and study in the U.S. for that F1 student visa, you have to show that you can afford it financially by providing a bank statement, and that bank statement has to have at least $21,210 in it. And the bank statement can be provided by a sponsor or two. You can have two sponsors, two different people providing two different bank statements, as long as it totals that amount. Now, that amount isn't ever a lump sum of money that you have to pay all up front. The only amount of money you ever have to pay up front is you pay for one semester of tuition in the beginning of the semester. So if this is 2 semesters, the top line, one semester is a little under $5,000. So you would pay all that at once. The rest is going to fluctuate based on your living habits. So for example, if you go out to restaurants a lot, you'll probably spend more in the housing and food category. If you like to go to the movies or dancing, you'll probably spend more in miscellaneous. So, that'll depend on your living habits. This is just estimated. Now, let's just talk about how much money you'll save on tuition. Just as a comparison, if we look at, let's just say the University of Florida, a student who goes to HCC first for those first 2 years and then transfers to the University of Florida for the last 2 years, you would save close to $35,000 on tuition alone. So that's how much more expensive tuition costs are at a university versus a community college. You're saving a crazy amount of money. At HCC, we have a real student-focused education system. We have over 160 different programs at the college, but we have 3 main pathways that you can choose to take. The first is the Associate of Arts programs. These are the programs that are going to transfer into university. So these are going to be the programs that you're going to want to select if your ultimate goal is to get your bachelor's degree. Next, we have Associate of Science degree programs. These are more specialized degrees. They're just 2-year programs. Just as a note, some of our Associate of Science degree programs will actually transfer into universities, like for an example, the University of South Florida, who I'm presenting with today. Our nursing program will transfer into their 4-year nursing program. But those are only a few, and we always recommend checking with their international student advisor at HCC if that is your intention to transfer. Lastly, we have college credit certificates. These are 1 to 2 semester long programs, so students can walk away with a certificate without the time commitment of a 2- or 4-year degree. We currently only offer 4 programs, 4 college credit certificate programs. One is in entrepreneurship and innovation. We have business management, event planning, and food and beverage management. And if you guys have more specific questions related to which programs we have, what you might be interested in studying, please send me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat when I'm done speaking with you, and it's also on the last slide. But I can put you in touch with any one of our faculty members or program managers because they love the perspective that international students bring inside of the classroom. Truly, you guys can contribute a wonderful amount of perspective, way more usually than our domestic students can. So they love international students. And actually, this is when I was going to play you a quick little 30-second video of what some of our faculty and staff are saying on campus about how much they love international students at HCC. But unfortunately, videos aren't playing on this platform, but I would love to send you guys some videos after the presentation today so you guys can check those out. Okay, a little bit about OPT, optional practical training. This is basically that paid internship I was talking to you guys about. You're permitted to work in the US on your F1 student visa and get paid for it, but only when you complete a degree program. So if a student attends a community college first for the first 2 years, you can take a year off and work and get paid for it before going on to university to finish the last 2 years of your degree. So go to a community college for 2 years, you can work, get paid for it for a year, transfer to university for the next 2 years, then you can do it again. You can do another year of OPT, work and get paid for it in the US. So if your plan is to eventually earn your bachelor's degree, you can actually do that OPT twice. And as I said earlier, if you go straight into university, you have to wait the full 4 years before doing a year of OPT on your student visa. These are our student apartments at Hawks Landing. I do tell my international students this isn't normal living. This is pretty fancy. It's way nicer than my student housing was when I was in college. But basically, each student gets their own private bedroom and private bathroom, and they share the kitchen and living room area. There's a pool, a beach volleyball court. They're fully furnished rooms. And then each apartment also has a dishwasher, a washer and dryer. It's really nice. It includes Wi-Fi. And there are 3 floor plans. We have 1, 2, and 4 bedroom floor plans. I definitely recommend going with the 4 bedroom for our international students for 2 reasons. Number 1, it sort of forces you to make more friends that way if you have more roommates. And then also you can save money because it's cheaper per person. To apply, you basically go online. The link is right there at the top of the page, and you submit your online application. I will say we normally charge a $50 application fee, but you do not have to pay that if you either attend this webinar live or see it recorded later. All you have to do is send me an email. My email address is down below on this slide. Just send me an email, give me a heads up that you are applying and that you listened to this webinar, and I will go in and waive that application fee for you so you won't have to pay that. Then you'll need to submit your high school transcript or graduation certificate, basically proving that you graduated from high school. If you come from a country where English is not the official first language, then you will have to take an English language proficiency exam, either the TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. There's a number of different ways that you can fulfill the English language proficiency requirement. But I will say the Duolingo test is the cheapest way. You take it in the privacy of your own home, and we do get those results right away. We only need a 90 or higher on the Duolingo. But again, if you come from a country where English is the first language, you do not have to take an English language proficiency exam. You'll need to submit a copy of your passport's bio page and proof of financial support, that bank statement that I was talking about earlier as well. We have 3 different semesters that you can attend HCC: the fall, the spring, and the summer. I will say the fall is probably our most popular. We get the most international students coming in the fall semester. The application due dates that are posted up there are quite flexible. So if you have all of your admission requirements in by the application due date, and we're only waiting on something like your high school certificate or transcript, we're able to go ahead and issue you a conditional letter of admittance so you can get started on the visa process as we wait for your official transcripts to come in. As long as you guys communicate to us, we are very flexible. Okay, a little bit about 2+2, why we're here today. At HCC, we have articulation agreements with all of Florida's 12 public universities, as well as a handful of universities across the country, which basically means that, you know, when you finish your 2 years of study with us, you'll automatically get admitted and accepted into any of those institutions we share agreements with. Now, even if we don't share a particular, or, you know, an agreement with a particular university you might want to transfer to, we still will help with the process. And what I think is the most important thing on the screen here is the bottom line. 85% of HCC students who transfer to a 4-year institution will transfer to one ranked in the top 50. So our students really get to transfer to some elite institutions. One thing I didn't include in the presentation today, because I was saving some time, I was hoping to present with my colleague Stuart, who I hope will be presenting after I'm done with my slides. But we do have an honors institute within HCC. It's basically an honors program for academically motivated students. And a handful of our international students are in the honors program. Honors students at HCC can get scholarships to cover the full tuition costs during their time of HCC. And then they can also qualify for amazing scholarships when they go to transfer to elite institutions. I've had international students that were in honors transfer to schools like Columbia University on a scholarship, and MIT, Georgia Tech, you know, on scholarships. Some of them transfer on full scholarships, so a full ride. It would cover the entire cost of tuition. So I definitely recommend looking into our honors program. I can, of course, give you more information on that. Now, no matter where a student wants to transfer, and I talked about this in the beginning too, once students begin their studies at HCC, they're assigned their own academic advisor, and you know, he or she is going to help them map out that academic plan, not only for the first semester that you're at HCC, but for the full 2 years of your program. And that's when the advisor will begin a dialogue with you about where you might want to transfer. So that way we can make sure that you're in the right classes that are going to transfer, you know, flawlessly into your selected bachelor's degree program. And our partnership, the reason why I'm presenting with the University of South Florida, or USF, today is because our partnership with them is especially close. So just as an example, students can opt to receive a conditional letter of admittance from USF upon your admission to HCC. So they can select that they wish to receive one with their HCC welcome packet, as long as they mark it on their online application when prompted. Of course, USF admission is finalized once you complete your associate's degree, but the conditional letter can actually benefit you quite a bit. So for example, prior to coming into the States and studying at HCC, when a student has their interview at the embassy for their student visa, you could actually take the USF letter with you to that interview. And it demonstrates to the embassy or the consulate officer that you are committed to your studies in the US and you fully intend to complete your studies at a university after you obtain your associate's degree. So it definitely comes in handy. And this is when I'm supposed to pass the mic on to my colleague from USF, Stuart. Was he able to get on? Hello?
I think we just lost him.
Oh no. Okay.
Lost him.
Well, in the meantime, I can quickly, let me just pull up this last slide here again really quickly. Hang on. Let me hide this, hide, and zoom through here, and I'll introduce our alum. There he is. So if you want to chat, Coker, talk maybe a little bit about your experience at HCC and your time with us, how the transfer process was, and yeah, give some tips and tricks. Coker, are you there? Oh.
I think, is he still with us or just?
Oh no, everybody's leaving my presentation.
Okay, I guess for the interim, thank you for the presentation. And
no problem.
yeah, so I just guess we can just have just a quick conversation about the presentation.
Sure, yeah.
The universities that you're partnered with, are they mostly in Florida State or they're outside of the state? Oh, well, there's Coca.
There you are, Coker. Yeah, the ones that we share articulation agreements specifically with, the reason why it's definitely with all of the Florida public universities is because we have what's called a common course numbering system. So it's really easy for all the classes to transfer and stuff like that. So that is mainly why Florida is just an easy transfer process that way. But we do have articulation agreements with the University of Cincinnati, Cal State San Marcos, with a couple of other institutions. But again, even if we don't share that agreement with a school that a student might want to transfer to, we will still ensure that they're taking the right classes to help with that process.
Okay, cool. I think I'll hand over to Coca.
Yeah. Coker, you want to talk about some of your experience at HCC and how your transfer process went and what you're doing now?
Oh, we can't hear you.
For some reason, I can't hear you.
I think just check your mic.
Or the settings, maybe? I had to go into my settings. Oh, that might work. Oh, except you're muted, I think.
No.
I still can't hear you.
Say anything?
Hello, how about now?
Yay!
We can hear you now.
Hear you.
Okay, better. Well, like I said, my name is Emmanuel Coca, and I currently live in Tampa, but I'm actually from Nigeria, Warri to be precise. And currently, I'm working on securing my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity. And I graduated from HCC with an associate degree in database technology because my passion has always been on information technology with a touch of information security. However, I have constantly been fascinated about international education and the importance of international students settling down in any city they find themselves, which kind of like drive me and encourage me to work as a student assistant in Center of International Education and HCC, and also serve as the vice president of Student Government Association in the school. When it comes to HCC actually gives me and other students the tools that we needed to prepare for life, most especially going to a 4-year college and as well into the workforce in general. Well, I'm a living example of having completed a 2 years program and go out there in the workforce and do a 1-year OPT, then went back to school to complete and try to complete my bachelor's right now. So I would say one of the good thing about going to HCC is that it's cost effective. It's going to save you a lot of money for the 2 years that you're going to be in there. And the education is of a very high standard. The professor, you're going to have a close proximity with the professors because the classroom is small, and it will give you the, it will encourage you and give you the ability to participate in classroom activities as well. On the final thought, there's nothing wrong with going straight into a 4-year university, but when it comes to cost effective and saving money, I would suggest that it's always smart for you to go into a 2 years college, just like HCC, where it will give you the ability for you to save a lot of money. And most especially those of us coming from Africa and other part of the world where we need to spend smartly, I think it will be a great decision for you to go to a 2-year college like HCC before proceeding and going into a 4-year college. Finally, there's something that's so important about HCC that I need to talk about. It's the club and the organization which I was part of. There's a lot of club and organization out there that's going to help you acclimatize into the new environment. Like I said at the beginning, there's always something called culture shock, which a lot of international students suffer when they come over to the US. But Hillsborough Community College will help you blend in smoothly into the society. There's this class I took, it's called the orientation class. For me, I think it's one of the most important classes in HCC because it helps me get across and kind of like avoid being homesick while I was here at HCC. And for me, I would say the most important thing about HCC is when you come to HCC, it gives you the opportunity for you to go anywhere. So I always say begin at HCC and go anywhere in the world. I hope you guys are making the right choice coming to HCC. Thank you. Any questions?
I did answer one question in the chat asking if we were accredited and if our degree is accepted in South Africa. We are an accredited institution. We're accredited by SAC. And the degree, an associate's degree, is, of course, acknowledged worldwide. If you're looking to see if it's accepted into other 4-year institutions in South Africa, that was, if I'm understanding that last little part of your question correctly, it can be, but it's up to the receiving institution. So if you wanted to transfer to a university in your home country, that is definitely a possibility, but you'll have to clear it with that institution first. And I would maybe ask them, if that's your intention, I would maybe find that out before coming to study in the US. But those are great questions. I did get an email from Stuart, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to join us for the rest of the presentation today, but he said he'd be more than happy to answer any sort of transfer questions. I will say students who transfer to institutions will sometimes usually transfer on scholarships, at least partial scholarships. There's a lot of partial scholarships offered to students, international students specifically, who are international transfer students. So that's a great way to save money too. Trying to think of any other information that I forgot. I definitely recommend you guys check out the video that I just posted a link of. That's our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of other really cool videos on there. We have one specifically for students who attended HCC from Africa. And it's the We Are HCC Africa. I'll put that in the chat too, so you can have that link as well. Yeah, and I'd love to follow up with you guys. Let me just quickly put my email address in the chat. So if you have any individual questions, or if maybe you want to talk to a current or past student, or you want to pick the brain of Coker there and ask him some questions about student life at HCC, which is pretty active. You know, we have hundreds of colleges on all of our campuses. We have sports. We have a really vibrant student life on campus. Many different ways to participate in activities. So if you want to ask questions about that specifically, we'd be more than happy to help out.
That's actually awesome. I guess just get the conversation going in case some questions come in the chat. Everyone, feel free if you got some questions, pop them into the chat, and we'll address them as the session goes on. Starting with you, Koka. You had mentioned culture shock and the support that you've got. Is there a big African community at HCC?
When it comes to African community, you'll be so amazed at the amount of Africans you'll find in Tampa. Not just West Africa. We have a lot of East Africa. We have a lot of people from Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Tanzania. We talk about the West. We have a lot of people from Ghana, Senegal. My friend is from Senegal and he speaks English fluently. We have a lot of people from Gambia. When you talk about North, some of my friends that we play soccer with, they are from Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia. You're gonna be blown with the amount of students from Africa that you meet at HCC. Mostly for those people like coming out, those people that like playing sports, like playing intramural activity at HCC. It's a very good way for you to make friends. And for those of us that play soccer, I made a lot of friends just coming out on Tuesday. People, so those people that come from Africa, you're not gonna have problem blending into the society because there are already people out here that will help you like get into the system smoothly. Most especially people from Africa, like people like you that are just Africa and they're into organization, they're into club, they're into like student assistant program, like an ambassador. Like one of the guy that helped me when I started my process, he was from Morocco. His name is Ishmael, and he was actually one of the student ambassador. Yeah, so you definitely have a lot of people from Africa that will help you acclimatize. Even when I was in HCC, I worked as a student assistant with Ashley and the rest of staffs at the Center of International Education, and we actually helped some students from Ghana come to. So culture shock for Africans is not going to be an issue because Florida is just like home. The weather, I'm telling you, the weather, the people, the food, the culture, and everything. You won't miss that much about coming to Florida, most especially if you're coming from Africa.
That's actually amazing to hear that because it does tend to be an area of concern for a lot of students where it's like, I don't know anything about Florida or Tampa. Like, how am I going to be received as a foreigner in America and in Florida? But if there's a community on campus, and as you say, like you said, every Tuesday, going to play soccer. You play soccer with a wide variety of people from many different backgrounds, basically from all over Africa. That's a very supportive community for international students coming in.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like the support of Africans in Florida is just huge, and it's not because I'm here in Florida. I'm like trying to hype it up. You cannot get it in other places in America. I'm telling you because I have friends from Kenya, I have friends from Tanzania, I have friends from Senegal, and they were all doing good. And some have friends from the Middle East. The Middle East too. They have huge community here, but African community here in Florida, most especially in Tampa, is huge. You're gonna be surprised at the amount of people you'll meet, and not just African community. There's this African store where you can buy African food, like stuff you need to make African food. It's called Africa on the Bay. So it's not just the community that's gonna help you get through culture shock. There's another side of Tampa which has to do with Africa on the Bay that's gonna help you get through. Like most especially those people that still love African food. If you go to Africa on the Bay, you buy stuff that you need to make African food. So you're not going to be missing a lot about Africa if you come to Tampa.
That's actually amazing. It just seems like it's a home away from home. That's what it sounds like.
I'm telling you, most especially the weather.
Especially the weather.
Yeah, most especially the weather.
it's actually good that you mentioned the weather. Is it is it all year round sunshine, or there's an opportunity to play in the snow? Like, what's that like?
It's actually cold. In
Oh,
winter, in October, November, December, January, and February, over here in Florida, you're gonna be blown away. The sun is out, but it's actually cold over here. But if you wanna play in the snow, there's this good thing about Florida. You can just drive to North Carolina. You can drive to Tennessee. You can drive to Chicago, Michigan, and you can play on the snow and have fun. But remember, most of those people out there, they actually want to come to Florida. So so you're going up there, you're gonna have fun, but you wanna come back to the sun.
that's a big draw card right there. Actually, for you, with
Tell
the
you.
having worked with Coca, as you mentioned, your student assistant, are those opportunities regularly available for students?
That's a great question. So on the F1 student visa, international students in the U.S. are permitted to work during their studies, but only 20 hours a week or less, and it needs to be an on-campus job. It can't be off-campus for visa regulation purposes. So there are a few jobs on campus. As Coker said, we do hire international students to work the front desk. In our office, we only will hire international students for that role. We don't hire students from the U.S. because students from the U.S. are allowed to work off of campus. So we always have, 2 or so international students working in our office. But then you can find jobs working in the bookstore, study center, library, and on any one of the other campuses as well. I will say some of those jobs are few and far between, so I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't recommend, you just thinking, okay, I'm going to get a job there, and that's how I'm going to pay for food or something. But it is a possibility, but we don't get the job for you. You sort of have to find a job yourself.
Yeah.
And work at that. And then another thing is we definitely don't recommend finding an on-campus job until at least after your first semester at HCC, just so you can get the hang of how much time you're going to have committed to classwork and, maybe clubs and organizations and your social life and stuff. So once you get a good feel after that first semester, then we think it's okay to go for an on-campus job.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. And then, and taking into consideration the transfer programs, how easy is it to transfer to be part of the 2+2 program?
It's not just so easy. We basically encourage all of our international students to do a 2+2. We do get some students occasionally, especially from Scandinavia, who do like a gap year or study abroad for a semester or two. But in all honesty, the majority of those students who say, okay, I'm coming for 1 year just to study in the States, they end up staying the full 2 years, and then they end up transferring to an institution in Tampa because, they make friends in the Tampa area. They get used to the Tampa different diasporas, what Coker was talking to, the different communities outside of the college. And then they really want to keep their roots sort of in this area. And it's the 2+2 process is super easy, especially with one of our international student advisors to sort of help you map things out step by step.
Yeah. And is it easy to transfer from a South African institution to HCC to then do the 2+2?
That's a good question. So any students who have already completed some college level coursework in their home country, what we recommend doing is you would need to complete a course by course evaluation. You would basically send whatever completed coursework you've done to a third party company, and I can send you a link. It's also on our website. And they'll evaluate your transcripts and the coursework that you've completed, and then they send us a report back, and we'll let you know which classes will count as college credits in the U.S. and in our institution.
Okay, that's actually amazing. And then you mentioned earlier about high school students having to graduate to come to HCC.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a lot of queries as education consultants of people in high school that haven't quite finished their high school. So we're talking about matriculants in South Africa, and we have O-level and A-level students in Zimbabwe, for example. They haven't quite finished high school, but they do want to attend college before they finish high school. Is that possible?
They do want to apply before they finish the high school?
They want to apply before they finish high school.
Oh, yeah, that's perfectly fine. What we recommend is, once you decide which semester you want to apply to, start the application process as soon as possible. That way, if we're only waiting on you to graduate from high school, whenever that happens, then it's just like one small thing we're waiting on, and we can go ahead and issue a conditional letter of admittance so you can apply for your visa. We can definitely do that before you even graduate from high school.
Okay, that's amazing. And if you're a high-flying student with top grades, do you get exempted from any first-level classes?
For those students who are really good at high school and getting like super great grades, what I would recommend is after securing your admission to HCC, so after you apply and everything to our institution and you get admitted, tell me, you'll be working with me through the admissions process, that you get good grades in high school and you're interested in our honors program, because students who get good grades in high school right now can apply off of those grades to get into honors, and that way you can honors students, they get scholarships during their time at HCC. They can register for classes before anyone else. Those classroom sizes are capped off at 15 students per less. At a community college, we cap our classroom sizes off at 30 students or less, which I thought that was in my presentation. I don't think I said that today.
Oh.
So it's real small classroom sizes, but even smaller classroom sizes if you're in our honors program. So that's what I would recommend for that. If you don't get good grades in high school, you can still apply to be in our honors program. The easiest way to get into honors is after your first semester at HCC. If you get a 3.4 grade point average or higher, you can apply after the first semester at HCC. So that's one of the easiest ways to get into honors.
And that's something that the study advisor will let the students know?
Yes, definitely. Yep.
Okay. Because I can only imagine how a lot of thoughts will be going through students' minds on their first day of campus, thinking about the academics, thinking about life, thinking about fitting in, and also the housing situation. Like you'd mentioned earlier, it's best to be in a 4-bedroom place. That way you can make friends and stuff like that. And just moving on to Coco quickly, when you first came to HCC, what was your living arrangement like?
When I first came to HCC, I would say I was lucky because I already have a brother that was already living over here, and we had a 2-bedroom, so that kind of like made my life easy. But having the opportunity of having friends at Hawks Landing, which is the student apartment that's right by the school, it gives me the opportunity to understand the living condition, and the living condition right there in Hawks Landing is like one of the best. Like Ashley said, one of the best. If you get in there, you probably think you're either in a fancy resort center like an Airbnb or like a hotel, because it has I'm telling you, it has pretty much a lot of stuff like that you need. Just like how it is in the picture, that's how it is over there. So when it comes to housing, you have options. You have a lot of options. And the best part of like staying in-house campus is that your house, like where you stay, is just right across from where you take classes. So you won't have issue of transportation. You won't have issue of like running late, or maybe you're driving to school, you're in a crash or something. You literally just have to wake up, take a shower, and just walk across and have your classes and walk back to your apartment. So they live HCC kind of like they went overboard, and they make sure that international student, when it comes to accommodation, they're taking good care of. So accommodation in HCC is not an issue.
Okay, that's actually awesome. And your experience in the classroom, what is that like?
I'm gonna tell you guys straight up, like coming to HCC is one of the best decisions I've made. Like, because right now I'm at St. Leo and it's a big university, the classrooms are bigger. But in HCC, the classrooms are smaller, which gives you the opportunity to like have eye contact with the professor, to like speak up and ask questions, because you're right next to the professor. It's a smaller classroom. You're not gonna be thinking about your accent coming from Africa, thinking about, oh, can I speak in public or stuff like that, because the classroom is like really small, like 40 or 30 students. It just gives you confidence to be able to participate in the activity, ask questions, go to the professor and speak up to them. You can actually get those big universities, but with it's just so different. I call it close proximity. They are right there. Like you can talk to them, you can get engaged. So the size of the classroom is still one of the best, and it's one of the best thing you're gonna gain for going to HCC.
That's actually awesome. And you have access to the professors and the lecturers. Like if you just want a support after class, it's like direct access, or is it like you have to send them an email?
So each of the if you're taking a class, one of the requirements of the classes is that each of the professor have office hours. Like when I first came, I spent a lot of time in my professor's office hour, because I'll go in there and ask them questions about like their requirement, like their grading and stuff. So each of the professor have office hours, and it's just to go into the syllabus of the class and check the office hour. So when you have issue, you need clarity, you need more explanation, you just have to go and see the professor at their office hour. You can call, you can text, it can be face to face. Me, I like face to face. Even before the professor gets to the office, I'm sitting beside his office, like for him to know that, oh, I'm here, I need help. Yeah. So when it comes to having interaction from your instructor and your professor, it's like really smooth. They have office hour, which they usually stick to. So you won't have problem getting in contact with them or getting in touch with them, because the office hour is actually for the student to get help.
Right. That's actually amazing. And it sounds like HCC is a very supportive community. You know, I guess it's in the name. It says community college. It's literally just people coming together, and either on the sports field and the classroom, easy access to lecturers. I mean, that's what more support could you need as an international student at HCC, really.
The good thing about HCC is the national community. Like I said, I was telling you guys, I met people from other part of Africa. I still met people from South Africa and Zimbabwe too, and we have fun. I can still remember having a conversation with one of my South African friend, and they were telling me how when they came over here, they thought it was gonna be. And funny enough, we met at the bus. There's a lot of good things about HCC. I'm just so excited about you people that are trying to come over here, because it's one of the best decisions of your life. We have one of the best team in America that's just right next to the school. It's called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's right next to the school, and we have a transfer center, a bus station that's right next to the school. So even if you're living far from the school, you can still take buses, and it drops you at the transfer center right across the school. It's either you walk to school or you take another bus that's gonna take you to school. So when it comes to like taking care of international students, HCC is on another level. I'm telling you people, HCC is another level. Most especially those of us coming from Africa.
Yeah, that's amazing. Ashley, you want to add on to that?
No, I mean, I think he explained everything perfectly. And who is the best person to talk about, studying at HCC other than, an international student himself? So, yeah, I think that we covered the majority of everything today on the webinar.
Yeah, that's amazing. Any last additions?
Not from me, just that I can't tell you enough how responsive we are, via email. We can hop on a Zoom too if you have any other questions, or maybe want to talk to your parents about studying in the States and your parents have questions. I love talking to parents too. I'm sure Coker wouldn't mind answering a question or two as well after the call. But yeah, we're just here to help.
Thank you. Coca, any last words, any last remarks?
One thing I would say about HCC is when you begin at HCC, you can go to where in the world. I have friends I met at HCC. They went to HCC and they currently live in Spain. I have friends, they currently graduated from a university in New York. I have friends over there in California. So when you come to HCC, it doesn't stop here. You can pick up yourself from HCC and go to anywhere in the world. I'm telling you. Even some of my friends that came to HCC from China and Japan, that went back to China and Japan, they're actually over there running a business. So HCC is just a start. When you come over to HCC, it's just the beginning of good things to happen in your life. And trust me, from here, you can go to anywhere in the world.
That's amazing. And just as a final thought for all those that have attended, don't forget, Ashley mentioned it earlier, that the application fee will be waived if you apply to HCC. Just let her know. Her email's in the chat. If you are interested in applying to HCC, please let Ashley know, and also let Sable International Study Abroad know, and you could have your application fee waived for attending this session, which we thank you so much for being able to attend. We really appreciate your time, Ashley and Coca. Unfortunately, Stuart couldn't join us, but at the same time, I'm sure you'd have added some amazing information, as this is actually a very exciting opportunity for people that are interested in going to the US, people that are interested in the 2+2 program, which is, just to summarize, it's 2 years at HCC and then 2 years at a university, and which that equates to a 4-year degree program. And as Coca had mentioned earlier, that by going to HCC, you can find yourself somewhere else in the world doing what you started, continuing your journey that you started at HCC, and you can be part of a massive international community, which mainly could be Africans, but you could meet other people from all around the world, as HCC in Tampa Bay is a vibrant community that's very accommodating. And let's not forget the sun. The sun is a massive draw card for a lot of African students. So if you're looking for sun and a vibrant community, and also in classrooms that are smaller, intimate, and you get a lot of support from student advisors, the international community, from Ashley and her team, HCC is a place to go. So thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Ashley and Coca. We definitely will be in touch, maybe another virtual session, or maybe even in person, and come down to South Africa and actually speak to.
That's
sure.
what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
We can't wait to travel
sure.
again.
No, we really would love to host you down in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and in Cape Town, so that you can actually have the face-to-face conversations with the market here, because there's a very keen interest in HEC.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. And Coker, it was so good to see you. Stop by the office sometime soon.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and all the best with your studies, Coca, Ashley. Have a good year ahead.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Sure.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.